The stock market sinking, now still sinking further, down 1.2% on Monday, starting another week of bloodletting. Let's get in Temple Ashaju to take us through some of the closing numbers for the equities. The unlisted securities also took a bout of the flu from the stock market or the stock exchange. Then, of course, a very big jump in terms of trading day, Monday at the fixed income space. Morning, Temple. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bosun. Good morning, Bosun.
Yes, good to have you.
Great. So we experienced some more losses yesterday, of course, due to the fact that we've seen some huge losses, coming from last week, and that ended up impacting on the kind of sentiment we had in the market yesterday. So we reopened the week very bearish, and of course we ended down some 1.26% eventually. We lost some 141 billion naira in the equity capitalization as the year-to-date performance of the market expanded further to some 9.37%. Of course, that also impacted on the month-to-date performance of the market. If you look at the activity level, it was moderated to some 8.7% in terms of volume of transactions that we had, which came in at 214.68 million units. Top trade yesterday was from USCN, and of course that gained some 0.72%, but we saw some 41 million units of the shares traded in the market for a value of 289 million naira eventually. So if you look at the sectoral fronts there, you've got huge sell-off on the banking side of things. Almost all the banks that you have under that sector actually ended in losses yesterday. The consumer goods segment of the market also experienced some huge declines. You got Cadbury, you got Dangote Sugar, Nigerian breweries, May and Baker, all of these key companies also closing down yesterday. Dangote Cement was about the only company that lost yesterday, fell by some 0.28% and impacted that industrial goods segment of the market. The insurance side of things and of course the oil and gas didn't experience any good either. But if you look at the energy sectors of the markets, you'll see that there was movement on 4 key companies. 11 PLC was down some 4.62%. We saw over 81 million units of its shares traded off yesterday in the markets, and that lessened the value of that company. O&O was down 3.12%. You got Etana PLC down by 1.28%, but Japol rose again some 7.49%. If you look at the NASD OTC side of the market, things were negative, down some 0.55%. You got a USI that closed at 760.63 points. And of course, CSCS, WAMCO, which did some 47,126 units of the shares, contributed to the gains or to the value of transactions that you saw there. Volume was in total 83,365. Niger Delta Exploration Production Company, which is NDEP, also contributed to the transactions we saw yesterday. Finally, on the fixed income side of the market, if you look at the bond side of things, yields were marginally higher by some 1 basis point, and of course we saw demand interest relatively muted compared to what we saw on Friday. But if you look at the yields, that appears to have found some kind of support level now, because again, the risk-off stance that we are seeing on emerging market assets is beginning to have its kind of positive impacts on the yields on the market, and that looks like something that will moderate around that particular levels going forward. Treasury bill side of the market was bullish yesterday as investors continue to go for that side of the market, even though we know that the short end of the curve experienced some less interest, but the mid and the long end of the curve experienced some good interest or demand yesterday, Bosun.
This is the opening call on a very sluggish stock market.
So, Bosun, we're seeing a 0.09% decline in the all-share index of the market at this point, and of course, it's not, the reasons for this is not far-fetched because we've been seeing huge sell-off in the market in recent time, coming on the back of the losses we saw last week and of course yesterday. All that's now dovetailed into what we've seen in early trades right here in the markets. Quite a number of companies are currently experiencing the backlash now. FBN Holdings is down. Champs PLC, we're seeing some huge profits taken on that particular company that has hit some 48 kobo or thereabout in share price some weeks ago, but now we're seeing it's trending at around 38 kobo in the market. It's done some 8.3% of the share price. The value has now been shaved off that particular stock. Cockville and UBA are about the 2 key companies that we are seeing currently, on the gainers chart right in the market. They're just trying to, weather the storm. I mean, as investors continue to, cherry pick, look for where you can find some opportunities to put money in, so that you can, possibly make some little gains out of the market. Because remember, for any broker, the more you buy, the more, whether you sell or you buy, actually you make some key gains, in the market. So it's the kind of sentiment we're seeing right about now on the market, boss.
Yeah, well, the big talk on your market street right now, Temple, is about the MTN, and we can't overplay this, because if you are bringing 4 trillion naira to my house or to my market or to my company, Temple, I'm going to roll out the red carpet. Even if it rains overnight, I'm going to remove that and spread another one and make sure I keep it dry until you arrive. So 4 trillion naira for a market that is thinking and still thinking by the day. 4 trillion is a lot of money. And I'm sure the Nigerian Stock Exchange management team will be cleaning everywhere up and getting everything ready for this very grand entry of this yellow company.
So they're coming in about 48 hours from now. That's Thursday this week. That's what the news reports about MTN listing says. So a lot of people here are expecting them to come in. Don't forget, they're coming in at a par value of 2 kobo. I mean, that's a space for everybody to just keep their eyes on, to see how things will change drastically on this particular company on the very day of listing. Because as you know, Bosin, here in the market, once the company is getting listed, they try to give room for trades on that particular company on the particular day of listing, and then they get to announce that. I'm very sure on the particular day that MTN will be listed, the announcement around the numbers of what becomes of trades around this particular company will certainly not be announced that day, because it will be very, very huge. It's something that a lot of investors are waiting, to basically see the reality in the markets, because I know some people have told me that, come on, we've saved money to see how we can buy MTN shares on this very day it comes into the market. So it will really turn around that ICT sector. Before you know it, some folks may come up with an index on it around MTN to say this is what the reading looks like, because it's a major stock that everybody really, really wants to make money from. And so we can't really wait for it to come into the market. Don't forget again, 2 companies are going off the market. We've had 163 companies listed in the market way before now. And of course, the listing of Nearest ASL, that's an airline services and logistics company, yesterday has now reduced the number of companies tradable in the markets to 162. And of course, effective from 15th of May, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, we will see the delisting of First Aluminium PLC, which falls in the industrial goods sector of the market. So MTN coming on board will at least help us to moderate the number of stocks that we have here in the market going forward, both.
Okay, Temple, let's keep an eye on both the big company, MTN, and small ones like you just talked about, like Nuracell, exiting the marketplace. We keep an eye on everyone, because someone's money is there. Have a great day, Temple. See you tomorrow.